What's up, guys? This is LQ. Welcome to the LQ review. I have seen Wonka. Now, just a little background with me as far as Wonka goes. I love the original one with Gene Wilder. Grew up with it. It was a staple of my childhood. The Johnny Depp one I thought was okay. I have been told that it skews closer to the book, but it lacked the joy and whimsy that I grew up with. It lacked the joy and whimsy that I associate with Willy Wonka. So therefore, I kind of appreciate the Johnny Depp version for what it was, but it's nowhere near the quality of the Gene Wilder one. So when I heard that they were doing a prequel to the Gene Wilder movie with Tim Chalamet as Wonka, I was excited, but I was also nervous. I was very skeptical. So did I like it? Well, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. It definitely had the joy and the whimsy that I was looking for. I had a good time watching this. I was smiling throughout. I felt joy. I felt magic. I felt it's something that's not incredibly common in a movie-going experience anymore, where you just are transported back to a time where you believed in magic, right? I would say similar to that original Willy Wonka or Mary Poppins, movies in that vein. They just simple, but magical, without having to explain the magic, right? And I think that's a big part of it. These movies don't have to explain the magic. It just is. So I really liked that component of it. The songs, while I didn't leave the theater singing any of the songs, so none of them were like instant classics, I really enjoyed every single musical number. Like I said, not the quality of The Greatest Showman or anything like that, but I definitely enjoyed every musical number that they had. Timothée Chalamet does a great job of becoming Wonka without having to feel like he has to become Gene Wilder's Wonka. This is Wonka at a different age. He's younger. He's more naive. He doesn't have the cynicism that the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka does. Well, let's face it, that character was a very cynical character. This Timothée Chalamet's Wonka is very naive and not really prepared for the world that he's walking into, trying to become a chocolatier. My criticism of this movie is the villains. Now, the first movie didn't really have a villain. I think you can make the argument that the antagonist, to some degree, was Willy Wonka himself. But it didn't have a villain per se. I mean, you could say Slugworth was the villain. Slugworth had, 2 minutes of screen time? And it wasn't really Slugworth to begin with. So yeah, no real villain in the original. In this one, there are 3 main villains. 4 if you count Keegan-Michael Key's police officer, which he was funny. Let's face it, he was funny. The 3 chocolatiers it's like they were in a different movie. It's like you had the Willy Wonka movie and him trying to get out of this debt that he got himself into and trying to build the chocolate factory and working with the people who he's working with, all this. And then you've got this completely other movie with these cartoon level villains who are trying to stop him. And I'm not sure that this was necessary. I'm not sure this was a necessary piece to the movie. I think maybe having Slugworth in there was necessary. But I think a better route would have been Willy Wonka does start his chocolate factory. It starts out small, and as it grows, he becomes a threat to Slugworth's empire, and Slugworth tries to steal his recipes. I mean, that's basically what was established in the original. And instead, they come up with this silly cartoon-level chocolate cartel. And I heard somebody say that I think it might have been Christian Harloff said that these were Muppet level villains, and absolutely right. These are Muppet villains. These are villains that don't belong in this movie. They belong in a Muppet movie. And every time the villains were on screen, it just took me out of the film because it was so it just didn't mesh with the rest of the film at all. So that's my big gripe. And that, if I were to give this film a score, 1 out of 10, 10 being great, 1 being terrible, I would give this a 6.5 or a 7. And the reason it's not an 8 or a 9 is strictly because of these villains. So I don't know what they were thinking there. There was definitely a route they could have gone with a human antagonist, Slugworth, that I think would have been more interesting, that would have tied in better to the original movie. But like I said, this still was a charming movie. There was a lot of joy in it, a lot of magic. Great movie for the holidays, good musical numbers, not great songs, but good musical numbers. The choreography, all that was great. And yeah, it was a good prequel that had references to the original without having to sprinkle member berries in every 3 minutes. So yeah, I would give this 7 out of 10. Thumbs up. I would say check it out in the theaters. It's worth your time. Even though there's some cartoon level villains, it's still a movie that's definitely worth your time. All right, guys, have you seen Wonka? If you have, tell me what you thought of it in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me here at the LQ Review. And until next time, we'll see you later.